Welcome to our ZipForm 6 training part 1, getting started in ZipForm 6 for South Carolina Realtors. Today we're just going to take a look at signing in on ZipForm and filling out a few forms. We're also going to be able to explore some important tools on the South Carolina website, and we're going to talk about little tips like how to change your company information that you see at the bottom of your forms when you print them out on ZipForm 6. So in today's training, we have a live training that we're also recording for you to review later. We're going to spend about half an hour talking about signing up for and signing into ZipForm 6 and filling out a few forms. And then we're going to have a little bit of time for questions from the audience, which they will type in using the GoToWebinar panel on the right-hand side of their screen. So welcome, everyone. Let's go ahead and get going. Now, first and foremost, why are we doing this? Why are we taking a look at ZipForm 6? I mean, you could buy your forms. You could fill them out with a pen and paper. But ZipForm 6 has a few advantages. One, it's free. It's a member benefit, an online program provided to you by South Carolina Realtors Association. So we are able to save time filling out these forms. We're able to have instant access to the files from anywhere. We're able to have convenient tools built right in and accessible wherever we're filling out our forms. And we're able to have more professional contracts. And ZipForm 6 is built so that anybody can use it. So we want to make sure you've got all the tools at your fingertips. It's very easy to use. You just have to be brave, get in there, and start using it. So we're going to give you the tools to get started today. We're going to start off somewhere where I hope you start off on a regular basis. We're going to start off by talking about accessing ZipForm 6. We're going to talk about SC Realtorsorg. We're going to take a look at your association website, and we're going to get started with our resources, and we'll talk about signing up for ZipForm 6 using the ZipForm page. Then we're going to take a look at opening and filling out your forms on ZipForm 6 once we've accessed it, once we've signed in. And then we'll go ahead and talk about some other ways that you can access your forms. We have ZipForm 6 Standard, which is on your computer. It's an option you could purchase if you'd like to download ZipForm 6 and have it available for you on your computer even if you don't have an internet connection. So that's one option. The other option is part of your member benefits. It's on your phone. It's ZipForm 6 Mobile Web Edition, and we'll talk about how to sign in for that as well. So we've got a little bit to do here today. Let's go ahead and get started at screaltors.org. At screaltors.org, you have many resources, and many of you have visited them, I'm sure, specifically resources related to your membership. We have lots of opportunities right here, including your ability to access ZipForm 6. So we're going to go on over to screaltors.org. We'll sign in and talk about that, and we're going to click on the ZipForm link in order to access ZipForm 6. I'm going to go ahead and open up my web browser. And I'm going to sign in to screaltors.org. So I've opened up my web browser. I'm going to enter my account information, my email address and password. And I'm going to log in. Now, you don't necessarily have to log in to screaltors.org before accessing ZipForm 6, but it is convenient. It gives you lots of information right here when you sign in. You've got your home information, your dashboard, and lots of great tools for you as a South Carolina Realtor. We also have the Member Services section, and here you can see, again, that ZipForms link. You can find that ZipForms link from the home page of screaltors.org as well. When you click that ZipForms link, it gives you many tools that you can use to help you out with ZipForm 6. So before we click Start Now, let's take a look at the many other tools that might be available for us. If we scroll down, we've got the ZipForm training webinars. We've got some quotes about ZipForm, and you've even got some news about the enhancements to your ZipForm package. So we're going to be talking about some of these enhancements today, and we'll talk about others in future ZipForm 6 training. So this is always a good resource to be aware of. This talks about all of your member benefits. ZipForm 6 Professional, which we're going to be training on today. It's included as a member benefit. ZipForm 6 Mobile we'll also be talking about today. It works on your mobile smartphone, your BlackBerry, your iPhone, your Android, even iPads. It's also included as a member benefit. So we're going to be talking about those two today. We'll also talk briefly about ZipForm Desktop, also known as ZipForm Standard, which is available for you to download at a reduced price of $25. So we're going to be talking about those today. We'll also talk briefly about MLS Connect, which we'll also cover in some of our future trainings. So with that in mind, we've also got some technical and support resources down below. You've got how-to videos so you can review different pieces and parts of what we cover today in our training. We've got lots of helpful information here, and you've got help from the Help Desk Manager of ZipLogix, Jerry. You can contact him or any of our Help Desk members by calling us at any time. So let's get started with ZipForm 6. If you've never signed up for ZipForm 6 before, if you've never signed in, you just want to click here to set up your account. When you click there, you'll be able to order ZipForm 6. And since you're signing up, it's a member benefit. It's free. So you just need to select the South Carolina Association of Realtors and click Order Now to continue. It's going to walk you through setting up your account. If it's your first time here, click I am a new customer. And you can set up your ZipLogix account, which will give you access to ZipForm as well as many other products and resources. You're going to select you're an NAR member. You can enter your NAR member ID and your last name to identify yourself and take full advantage of member benefits. So since I myself am not an NAR member, we're going to go ahead and skip ahead to signing into ZipForm. So once you enter your NAR member and your last name, it'll confirm your identity. You'll click Continue. You'll get a website that will ask you to confirm your personal information, and you'll be able to sign up for ZipForm 6. Once you have signed up, you'll be able to sign in. So let's go back to the South Carolina website, and let's take a look at signing in. To sign in from our same ZipForm 6 page, all you need to do is click the Start Now button. If you click Start Now, it will ask you to enter in your username and password that you set up when you set up your ZipForm 6 account. So when you click Start Now, you're given instant access to signing into ZipForm 6. Enter your username and password. And click the Sign In button. Now remember, this will give you access to your entire ZipLogix account, which may include ZipForm 6. It may also include your digital signatures and other account information. So if you've signed up for other products along the way, you'll also have access to them directly from this page. So go ahead and sign in and click the ZipForm 6 link, and you're automatically given access to your ZipForm 6 account. So this ZipForm 6 account is what's going to allow you to travel anywhere with your transactions. This ZipForm 6 account can be accessed from a Windows computer or from a Mac computer. If you are working on the iPad, we'll show you towards the end of this training how to access ZipForm 6 Mobile Web Edition, which works on the iPad. So let's get familiar with ZipForm 6. The first page you see is the home page. The home page allows you to travel with all of your transactions. So here we're allowed to go through and open up any of our transactions. We have our entire filing cabinet online, available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So no matter where you are, you can work on your forms. And with these transactions, with these files we're working in, there's a little menu for each file. If you move your mouse over the file, you'll see you could open the file to work in these forms, print them out, send them to others. We'll talk about that in a little bit. You could delete this file if it's taking up too much space on your view. You could edit the header to change the name of the file. You could also copy this file. You can create an exact duplicate of a file on ZipForm at any time. That's a great way to do half the work you need to do. If you need to start up a different listing, if you need to renew a listing, this is a great way to start those forms. We could also email these forms to anyone, and we can connect to partners such as Top Producer. If you'd like to import information from Top Producer, if you happen to use Top Producer, just click on the Partners link to import information from Top Producer. So that's what we can do with files once we start them. We can also search for those files if we need to, so you can find exactly what you need. And you can start a new file at any time. So starting a new file allows you to name that file. It allows you to perhaps select a packet of forms to start off that file. But if you just need to fill out 1 or 2 forms, there's this great Forms link up at the top of the screen. If you click the Forms link, it's going to take you directly to the Forms page. The Forms page allows you to go through and fill out your forms. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to click the Forms page, and when we click the Forms page, we can go ahead and have access to everything. Let's take a look at this Forms page. Let's get familiar with its structure, and then we'll open up some forms and talk about filling them out. So up at the top of the Forms page, there are 4 very useful menus. The File menu, where you could open, save, even share a file by printing it, emailing it, faxing it, or even sending it off for e-signatures. The Edit menu, where you can edit basic information. The Tools menu, which gives you access to basic tools like spell check, your mortgage calculator, and it allows you to import information from your MLS using what's called MLS Connect. Then, if you need help, there's also the Help button that you can access at any time. Down below these menus, we have the Quick Tools. On the left are the Quick Navigation buttons, and on the right are the Quick Edit tools. We'll cover these briefly today and in more detail in a future training. Below that, you have your area to work on the forms themselves. On the left-hand side is the Forms panel, and on the right-hand side, we will see these forms appear. So let's start by looking at the Forms panel. If you just need to open up 1 or 2 forms, that's all you want to do, all you need to do is find your form and double-click on it. So let's take a look. We can find our forms from our library of forms. Right now I'm looking at the main South Carolina Association of Realtors forms. However, if you have different sets of forms from a different local association, from your brokerage or even other forms. For instance, here I've got my brokerage forms like the ZipForm demonstration forms. You can select these forms at any time just by selecting the library you would like to work in. You could even select all libraries to search through all of the forms that you have access to right now. For today's training, just to make it a little bit easier, I'm going to go ahead and use my brokerage library. It's called the ZipForm Demonstration Library. It's only got 5 forms, so we can easily keep track of these forms and see what's going on with them. Let's take a look. These forms are listed alphabetically by form name right now. Next to that, you could click to view these forms by form number or code. So select numeric to sort them by form number. You could also view forms by category. So you could see all of your listing forms very quickly. And you can search for a form very easily. Just enter in all or part of that form's name and click search. And you can search for those forms. You can double click on any form to open it up and begin working in it. So we can access these forms very quickly, very easily. Just begin filling out your forms. But there are some other tricks to this. Let's take a look. If you'd like to preview a form or even print out this form immediately, you can right-click on your form. You know that right mouse button that you hardly ever use? That right-click can open up some great menus in ZipForm 6. So let's take a look. If we right-click on a form in the library, we can choose to add it to our transaction. We could print a blank or a sample form, and we can preview the form if we need to. So if you're not sure if it's the right form, you could preview it now. We can also right-click on forms that are already in our transaction. So if you've already started filling out forms, you could right-click on them to print them instantly or remove them from your set of forms you're working in. We can also add more than one form at once. I know you work in many forms in your transactions. If you'd like to add more than one form at once, you can hold down the Control or the Shift key on your keyboard. And you can select more than one form, then click Add Selected Forms. And that adds all of them to your transaction. So that's an easy way to add in these forms that you need. Now there is another shortcut I'm going to touch on today and we'll talk about in a later training in much more detail. That shortcut is using a template. A template is a forms packet or package. It has a saved set of forms that you or your broker have created, and it allows you to add this saved set of forms to your transaction at any time. So what does that mean? That means that not only can your forms be added, but they can even be filled out with your basic information like your agent and company information. So you can add these templates when you start a transaction, or you can apply them at any time after that. I'm just going to go ahead and apply my new listing template. Any additional forms I might have needed are added. And if we head on down, you can see my company information was also added to this transaction simply by using a template. So templates are great shortcuts. You can learn more about them in the help videos, and you can join us for our future trainings to learn how to create your own. So we've added a great number of forms. We're ready to begin working in them. And instead of clicking on a contract, I've clicked on something a little bit strange. This is called the cover sheet. Now you might have seen this cover sheet in your forms before. Some of you might even use it. It is a great tool for your transactions. Let's take a look at this cover sheet. It's not a contract. It's not anything you would have signed, but it does have all of the basic information for the transaction. We can fill out this cover sheet and enter in basic information on our transaction, And when we enter in basic information on our transaction, you can go through and have all of that information copied into all of your forms. Now, as South Carolina Realtors, you actually have two choices for your cover sheet. I'm just going to point these out right here. You've got a 2-page cover sheet and a 4-page cover sheet. I encourage you to go ahead and explore each of these. You'll notice the 2-page cover sheet is a bit shorter, contains a bit different layout for the information, not quite as much information. We can go through and quickly fill it out. The 4-page cover sheet has the complete information all laid out for you. So it simply depends upon what you need. And if you're in a situation where you only have, for instance, basic information that you'd like to keep track of, then you can go ahead and use this 2-page cover sheet. So I encourage you to explore both of these cover sheets and figure out which one works best for you. Using this cover sheet is not required, but it is a huge advantage. Let's see why it's a huge advantage. If I enter in the client's name, let's go ahead and enter in the seller's name. We've entered in Kevin Bacon's name. Now if we go on over to the listing agreement, whether it's one we already have in our transaction or one that we'd like to add, or any other form that we're using, we can see Kevin Bacon's name is filled out automatically. So any information you enter into that cover sheet is automatically filled out on all of your forms. And if you're using that cover sheet, any information you update on your forms is automatically updated in the rest of your forms and in your cover sheet. So it's a great tool. I encourage you to take full advantage of that cover sheet, because if you've only got 5 minutes to go and you're heading out the door, what you can do, you can start up a transaction, you can apply a template, fill out the basics on the cover sheet, and you could print these forms. Just choose to print all forms. You could email these forms, even fax these forms to somebody, and you will show up with the majority of the forms filled out for your client. They'll be typed out with the client's name. That makes the client feel great. You could then fill out additional information like terms and conditions. You could write that out by hand while you're there, or since ZipForm 6 is online and you can access it from anywhere, pull out your laptop, connect to the internet, and you're ready to fill out these forms quickly and professionally. That's one of the great advantages of having ZipForm. You're never going to run out of forms. You're never not going to have the information that you need. So let's just take a quick look at filling out these forms a little bit further. I'm going to show you a few more shortcuts, and then we're going to talk about something very important, how to change your company information, and we'll open this up for questions. So I'm going to fill out Kevin's street address, 6 Degree Lane, and as I'm filling out this street address or any other section in ZipForm, you'll notice I get these drop-down menus, this little arrow. This drop-down menu allows you to pull up information that you've typed previously. ZipForm never wants you to have to retype information you've typed previously. So you can pull up this information, you can go through, quickly fill in the property address, county, phone numbers, marital status, anything you filled out previously. And as you're filling out this information, you'll also notice for certain fields, like number fields, if we go on down to the date field, you'll even get some automatic formatting. So on the date field, instead of the drop-down list, we have a calendar. You can select a calendar day. Select today's date, which is highlighted. You'll notice when this is entered, it's automatically formatted, as are numbers. and we try to go through and save you time whenever possible. You'll notice as I'm typing out this information, not only is everything formatted for me, but it's even added up under total encumbrances. So we try to make things easier for you, quicker for you. You'll always have the correct formatting. And if we go on over to that listing contract, you'll notice not only do we have the correct formatting for the property price, but it's typed out for us as well. So ZipForm tries to help you reduce errors and reduce confusion. All right. So let's go ahead, quickly see some tools that are going to save you time, and then we'll review what we've covered so far. So I'm going to go ahead, now that we've added the forms we need, I'm going to shrink away this forms page. That's my favorite way of working in ZipForm. If you shrink away this forms page, it makes it a lot easier to view your forms. That's that little arrow right there on the corner of the forms panel. You could expand it and shrink it away. And this way, you can see your form a little bit better. If you need to, you can use the quick navigation that we pointed out at the beginning of the training to jump from form to form, change your form, or go back, change your page. Move forward a page or back a page if you don't feel like scrolling through the forms. Now, we can also use the quick edit tools to help us out. Just going to look at some of these real quickly. We'll cover them in more detail in one of our future trainings. We can cut, copy, and paste information. So you can highlight text and cut to remove it, copy to duplicate it, or paste to insert copied text anywhere you'd like. You can also right-click on a field in order to go ahead and cut, copy, or paste. So that helps you move through this form very quickly. We can also go through and take advantage of two other great shortcut buttons. The NA button allows you to fill in all of the blanks. If you want to fill in all of the blank fields, mark them as being left intentionally blank, you could click NA, then click Apply, and it will fill in all of the blank fields. You can also go through and you can remove the NA, and that will remove that NA from all of your blank fields. So you can go through and quickly fill in those blanks if you need to. Now, there's one more button here that's a great shortcut. I'm going to show it to you right now. It's the Fast Fill button. Fast Fill allows you to work in the forms when you just need to see the fields you're filling out. Click Fast Fill and you'll notice this seller's field at the top and listing firm, it's just displayed for us. So let's take a look. I'm going to click Fast Fill, and it strips away all of the form language, leaving us just the fields to fill out. So when you click Fast Fill, it's an easy, quick way to have all of the fields that you're going to fill out and be able to see these. You can see what we've filled out already is right there, filled out for us. We can even check off checkboxes or fill out additional information. And when we click Fast Fill again, we can see that information is filled out in our forms. So it's a great way to see everything in your forms, fill it out very quickly. So we've taken a look at adding in forms. We've looked at filling them out and some shortcuts to filling them out. We talked briefly about templates. We used a cover sheet to save time. And we talked about some of the tools that can help us fill out our forms, such as the NA button and the Fast Fill button. Now, let's take a look at one more very important thing, and that is the information that appears at the bottom of the forms. ZipForm customizes these forms for you with your information, your brokerage information. It appears at the bottom of your forms, but a lot of people want to know how to change that information. Well, you can change that information if you visit your profile. If you visit your profile, it will show you all of that information where you can change it or update it as you need to. So here you can go through, you can make a change or correction. Just make sure and double check that information before clicking Save. When you click Save, that change is saved and will apply to all of your future forms. All right, so let's go ahead, let's review what we covered today, talk briefly about ZipForm 6 Mobile, and then cover some of the questions you guys have been typing in, which I can already see are really great questions. So, first, our review. We went to screaltors.org. We clicked for ZipForm 6. And that gave us the page where we could sign up for ZipForm 6 or sign in to ZipForm 6. So let's go ahead. We signed up for ZipForm 6 by clicking Order Now, which will give you the opportunity to fill in all of your information and create your username and password for ZipForm 6. That username and password is like a set of keys. It takes you into your forms wherever you go. And to sign in, you can visit SC Realtors and click the Start Now button to sign into your ZipForm and ZipLogix account, where you can access ZipForm and any other tools you've signed up for. When you access your ZipForm 6 account, you're able to start a new transaction or go directly to filling out your forms. Today, we went directly to filling out our forms. We went to the Forms tab. There we were able to select our forms using the Forms libraries, where we could select specific forms by dragging and dropping them or double-clicking on them to open them up. On that Forms panel, we can see which forms we are working in for a specific set of forms, a specific property or client. And we can select many forms holding down the Control key. We were able to search through these forms by viewing them alphabetically, numerically, by category, or even searching for a specific form. We were also able to add more than one form at a time by applying a template. Now you might have templates already which came from your brokerage or templates which you have created. Remember, you can apply these at any time during your transaction. And once we added that template, we went ahead and used the cover sheet form to save time. Remember, as South Carolina Realtors, you have access to 2 cover sheet options. You have the 2-page cover sheet, which has simple basic information, and you have the 4-page cover sheet, which goes into more detail. Feel free to open up each of those and use the one that best fits you. Remember, it's not required to use this cover sheet, but it sure does save a lot of time, makes it easy to enter that basic file information or to consult that basic file information if you need to double check what is in the file. The information here is copied to all forms, and information updated on forms is updated throughout your file. When you're entering in that information, you can also save time by using the Lookup fields. Lookup fields are that drop-down menu where you can click to go ahead and enter anything in that you've typed previously. And if what you typed previously happened to have a typo, you can always edit those lookup fields on the Edit menu. We went through, we navigated through our forms, and we were able to change what we were looking at, where it was, and able to go page to page and form to form. We also went through some of the useful form buttons. Now you can find this guide right there in ZipForm if you click the Help button. You can also access this through the PowerPoint that's going to be sent out following today's training. So by tomorrow you will have a recording and a copy of the PowerPoint to review at any time. We talked about some of the key tools on these quick edit tools, like cut, copy, and paste, the NA button that allows you to fill in blank fields, and the fast fill button that allows you to view all of the form fields and fill them out very quickly. Then we went ahead and edited our profile. We went through to make a change on the information that appears at the bottom of the screen. Remember, you can access the profile at any time, either on your home page by clicking My Profile or by clicking the Profile button. And just remember to click Save once you've made your changes to commit to those changes. Now, there's another way to access ZipForm. All of your forms, all of your contracts are available through ZipForm 6 Mobile, which South Carolina Association has provided as a free member benefit. You can visit m.zipformonline.com on your mobile phone. So open up your web browser on your mobile phone and visit m.zipformonline.com. You can enter your ZipForm 6 username and password, the one that you've created, and click Login to continue. And that will allow you to access your files, access the forms within your files, and even fill out the fields as though you were in fast fill mode. It's a great way to keep in touch with all of your transactions. So, we've got two versions that we talked about today. And I want to make sure you know the difference between these two versions. I recommend, of course, starting out with the free one, the member benefit, ZipForm 6 Professional. This works online from any computer. All you need is a username and password to sign in securely. You can work from anywhere. You don't have to carry your files back and forth. It's great if you work at home and in the office. But if you are somewhere where sometimes you don't have access to an internet connection, or you don't always have access to a regular internet connection, you can sign up for ZipForm 6 Standard Edition. That's the version that appears on your desktop. That's $25 for SCR members, and you can work on it from your computer at any time. Now, since you're an SCR member, if you purchase ZipForm 6 Standard, of course, you get ZipForm 6 Professional, so you can also work online if you need to. So just keep that in mind in the back of your head. I strongly encourage you to try out the member benefit version, the professional version, because it gives you access to a lot more information, like the ability to access your forms from your mobile phone. And it's a great tool that you can access from anywhere. So, if you need help as you're going through, if you'd like to review anything we've covered today, you can go ahead to the Help button, the Help tab. We have videos and frequently asked questions available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can access these at any time through your ZipForm account or by visiting support.ziplogix.com. We can go through and we can have access to everything through ZipLogix or through SC Realtorsorg. So, that brings us to the end of our basic introduction on ZipForm. You saw many different ways we can work in our forms. Now we're going to take some of the questions that have been asked by our audience, and we're going to answer them for you right now. If you're here on the live training and you'd like to ask some questions, feel free to expand that GoToWebinar panel. It's located on the right-hand side of your screen. And from that GoToWebinar panel, you can type in any questions you might have. We're going to start taking some of these questions that have already been typed in. So Neil would like to know, how do I find my username and password for the online version? Well, that depends. If you have signed up already, you can look it up just by visiting the Sign In page for ZipForm 6. Let's take a look at that. I've opened up my web browser and gone right to my screaltor.org website. And here on SC Realtors, if I click on ZipForm, I can click Start Now. If I already have signed in at least once to ZipForm 6. If you've never signed in, just click here to set up your account. And that's how you could start off with that username and password. But if you click Sign In and you realize, gee, I can't remember that username or password, I've forgotten it, you can always click the Forgot Your Username or Password link. And that will help you look up your username or password. You just need to enter in one of these three. So if you've got your NERDS number, your NAR member number, your email address that you used when you signed up, or your username, you could look up any of the above. All right, and Mary asks, if I choose to fax or email a packet of forms, can I choose which pages are being sent? So I don't want to send the entire package of forms. Absolutely. We'll talk about this a little bit more in our next ZipForm training, but let's take a look right now. On our Forms page, I pointed out you could use the File menu to go ahead and, of course, save your file or open a different file. You can also use it to print, email, fax, or send for electronic signatures. And for any of these, when you're printing, you can choose Print All Forms, and you can actually select which forms you're printing. When you're emailing, you can select who you're sending it to. There's a little address book right here if you'd like to use it. And you can go through and select which forms you're emailing. And when you're faxing, same thing. You could type in the fax number or just select the address book and go ahead, type in your additional comments, and check off which forms you're sending. So you never have to send the entire package, but of course if you'd like to, just click this Select All button at the top. All right, and Joe would like to know, on our computers or network, we have several choices for printers. How do we choose a particular printer for ZipForm? Well, very easy. When you go to the print, I'm just going to select Print All Forms because I actually have a similar situation. At my office, I have more than one printer. I can go ahead and select the printer from this drop-down list that I would like to use to print out my forms. So you can always choose which printer you're using when you go to print your forms. And Mary would like to know, can I draw a line through any of the non-fill-in-the-blank wording that appears on a contract? We've all seen this. You've got some information on a contract, maybe some items to be left upon the premises, that should be lined out. You can line out that information by using the Strikeout button. Just be aware that on some forms, the Strikeout button is disabled. That's by request of whoever created those forms, your association or brokerage. So let's take a look at that Strikeout button. Click the S with a line through it to turn on Strikeout. It'll have that little yellow box behind it if it's on. And then click and drag to highlight the information to be lined out. It will line out all of that information. If you accidentally line out too much information, click and drag to remove a Strikeout. Just remember two things. One, when you're done using Strikeout, turn it off so you don't accidentally line out half your form. And two, when it comes to printing out these forms or getting them signed, make sure you initial or have it approved according to your brokerage or MLS or association rules. So make sure you still follow all of the rules as though you lined it out by hand. And Heidi's got a great question. We have a checklist, or maybe you have some other forms that you use in your brokerage. Can these forms be added to ZipForm? Well, an office can add its own library of forms. Just be aware there may be certain fees associated with that. You can contact ZipForm at any time and we'll talk to you on a case-by-case basis about what that might cost to do that for your office. So if you have office forms, have the broker or the person who created the forms for your use contact ZipForm and we'll talk about the different options for you. They can be added, but sometimes there's additional fees. And Dan would like to know if we have a brokerage account. Well, a brokerage account is when the agents can all be working together, and you can also have your office managers, even your broker online. In that type of situation, can the broker fix the profile page for their agents? Yes, the broker can update the profile page for the agents, and if needed, we can even update all of the agents at once. Dan would like to know, can you overlay text on forms? Well, yes and no. You can't add text into these forms except in the fields where you're allowed to type. You can't write on them, but we can add a little sticky note. We'll talk about these sticky notes in more detail in later trainings, or you can learn about them in our help videos. These sticky notes allow you to type in anything you'd like to type in and place that anywhere on the form. But you'll notice that does sometimes block some text if you're not careful. So these sticky notes do not print out with the form. They're displayed on your screen. They could be shared when you save as a PDF or email forms. You'll notice there's the option to include sticky notes. But we cannot print these out because that would alter the legal language of the contract. And Nancy would like to know, how do you do an e-signature? Well, very simply, you click the e-sign button and follow the steps for signing. Just click e-sign, click sign, and go ahead and send your documents for signatures. You can select what's going to be sent, and you can choose who's going to be signing. Now we'll go over e-signatures in much more detail in a special training dedicated to electronic signatures. But you can also learn more about e-signatures through your help button or by visiting ZipLogix.com and clicking on the training section where we have specific trainings and training videos for electronic signatures. All right, and Jeff would like to know, can I increase the space needed on a form? Well, not exactly. What you can do is you can add an addendum or extra addendums to your forms just like you would do today. But we can't increase the space on the form because that would actually interfere with the legal language of the form, your ability to print out the form on a standard sheet of paper, and it would also interfere with these handy line numbers. So we don't want to change where those line numbers are. We don't want to confuse anybody or make it difficult for you to read or exchange different files. But if you do need additional information, there are always addendum forms that you can go through and add at any time. If you need more than one addendum, you can add more than one addendum form. And Carol would like to know, sometimes I like to enter text in a date field. Instead of a hard date for the inspection date, I want to enter 14 days from contract date. Is that possible? Yes, it is possible, but I'd like to give you a caveat because once you do this, you can't go back and undo it. You can take the date and you can override the automatic formatting. Now watch this. When I do this, it's going to change the color of this field. You can override the automatic formatting by hitting the space bar. When you hit the space bar, you can type out any text you'd like, and it's saved for you. But you'll notice if I come back here, I don't get that date number or anything else any longer. And if you override it on certain fields, for instance the price, if there are other related fields like the typed out listing price, that might interfere with that price itself. So if you would like to still have that formatting, you'll have to enter it yourself from then on, and then it will calculate that information, but you'll notice I didn't get the commas or any other useful, helpful automatic formatting. So that will override the automatic formatting, but you can't go back and undo that in this form. All right. We've also got a great question. What about the new language ability? Well, if you are bilingual and you would prefer to work in ZipForm in Spanish, you can do so. This will not change the language on your form, but it will change the language of the interface that you prefer to work in. The next time you sign in, you'll see everything in Spanish if you choose Spanish. So you can go back and forth between the language you would like to use by using this language button at the top of the screen. And Jim would like to know, can I add my company logo to any of the forms? Yes, absolutely. Let's go ahead and take a look. A great idea for personalizing ZipForm is to add your company logo, and to sign up to do that, just follow the instructions on screaltors.org. Let's go ahead over to screaltors.org, and if you click on the ZipForm information and scroll down, you'll see additional ZipForm information, including information about how brokers can add logos. You need to add them within the next 90 days, and it's free. Just contact Mike Sitko, here's his email address, and he'll help you with uploading your company logo. Here's where you can also go for contact information on ZipForm. You can call this number right here for more help and information on ZipForm 6. Diane wants to know, is there a highlight button? Well, no. There's not a highlight button in ZipForm because that would actually affect, again, the legal nature of the contract. It would also make it very difficult if you printed and faxed this to somebody. It might even make it so that what you highlighted turned out black. Have you ever had that happen to you? I've had it happen a few times. We don't want that happening from ZipForm forms. However, if you would like to call out sections of a form for a client to review or sign, a great way to do that when you're emailing forms is to use these sticky notes. Just take a sticky note, place it next to where you would like them to review, initial, or sign, and it works kind of like a highlighter. It draws attention to that area. If you'd like to, you could even change the color of this sticky note to draw even more attention. So there's lots of great ways to kind of make this stand out. And if you shrink down the sticky note, it doesn't cover up as much of the text, and it can be shared when you email or save as a PDF. And Judy would like to know, should members of a team have separate ZipForm accounts? Yes, I would advise that you have separate ZipForm accounts, even if you're co-listing a property or working together on your transactions. I would suggest you have separate accounts, but you might want to explore signing up for the brokerage account so that you can more easily work together. Wendy would like to know, if you use the desktop version, can you also opt to have files online as well? Absolutely. You can use both desktop and online as SCR members. And Janie would like to know, how long will transactions stay on the desktop version? They will stay as long as you have your computer and that desktop version on your computer. And Janet would like to know, what is the process for the MLS to connect to ZipLogix? Well, if you are part of an MLS or in charge of the MLS that would like to connect to ZipLogix, please do contact ZipLogix. You can visit ziplogix.com or follow the instructions again from the SCR website. You can connect with MLS Connect when you click on the MLS Connect link here. You can learn more about that and the process. We'll also talk about the process for you as agents to import that information from your MLS. We'll be doing that in a later training when we talk about this MLS Connect tool. And Dan would like to know, if you are using both the desktop and the online version, will forms automatically be updated when you're online? If you synchronize your forms, they will be. So you have the choice of synchronizing your forms. When you download the desktop version, I would suggest watching the help video for synchronizing forms from desktop to online. That'll walk you through step by step and help you out with storing your forms online and offline. And Margaret would like to know, can we change the print type for sections in a contract? Maybe we want to bold something or italicize it. You can't change the print type because we want to ensure it stays legible and understandable throughout all of your contracts. However, what you can do is you can actually make everything uppercase in a field. So you can make it really stand out in your field if you'd like to. And that's an easy way to bring attention to a certain part of the form. Just make it all uppercase. You could do that by right-clicking or by using your quick edit tools up at the top. All right, and again, we have quite a few questions about custom forms. We'll be sending out the contact information and a basic summary on how to talk about or start talking about creating a custom library for custom forms in ZipForm 6. You can have custom libraries. That's kind of what we saw here when we used my demo library, my ZipForm demonstration library, instead of the standard SCR forms. So you can have those, but again, there may be a cost associated with those. We will forward out the information following up on today's meeting when you receive your copy of the PowerPoint presentation and when you receive the link to view a recording of today's training. And Susie would like to know, if you've already been using ZipForm, can I use the same login and password? Absolutely. You can continue using your same login and password for ZipForm that you've always been using. Eleanor would like to know a great question. Is there a way to send out specific pages of a form? Absolutely. We can do that from that file menu again when we're saving as a PDF, printing, emailing, faxing, or sending out for e-signatures. All of these have the same controls. Let's see them. I'm going to choose email. We can actually select not only the form we're working on, but even the page of the form. Just click this little circle button next to the checkbox to expand that option. Then you can choose to send only page 2 and page 3. So if you just need 1 or 2 pages gone over, you can go ahead and select not just the forms, but the pages that you're sending, printing, emailing, faxing, or getting electronic signatures on. And Mary would like to know, can the font on forms be made larger in order to help out with sight-challenged clients? Well, again, in order to keep a standard contract size and standard lines in the form, this is a little bit like having an expandable field. While we can zoom in on a contract, you can zoom in up to 500% on your contracts, it will not change the size of the contract that prints out. So you could take your computer and show your client the enlarged print on your screen, or you could take a magnifying glass or maybe even print it out on larger sized paper, but we can't actually increase the size of the font when it's printing out. Again, you want to have standardized sizes for your transactions, standardized sizes for your contracts, because if you need to reference a contract somebody else filled out, you want to make sure you can easily go to line 18 and talk about what's on line 18 or line 25 or line 30. All right, and Mike would like to highlight, if you don't have the mobile web edition, if you try signing in and it doesn't work, your account may simply need to be updated. All you need to do in order to do that is you can go to your shop, or you can click right when you sign in, and you can add the mobile web edition. It will show for you, as South Carolina members, free of charge. It would be listed under your additional products. You could just add to cart at a zero charge. So if you don't see the mobile web edition, that's an easy fix for you. When you sign in, click on it for additional products. Renata would like to know, is there a maximum number of documents ZipForm can hold? No, we will hold as many documents as you need. As long as they're in ZipForm, you'll have access to them wherever you are. Janie would like to know, can the sticky note be removed by anyone other than the sender? So if you come in here, you add a sticky note, either by right-clicking or by clicking the sticky note button. Can that sticky note be removed from that particular form by anyone other than the person who saves it as a PDF or emails it? No, it cannot be removed, but it will not print out if somebody prints out the form. So the actual sticky note cannot be removed, but it will not print out if somebody clicks print to print out that form. Victoria would like to know, can you load the desktop version on an iPad? No, unfortunately not, simply because the iPad has some software restrictions in it that will not allow loading of the form viewer. If you're working on an iPad, you need to use the ZipForm 6 Mobile Web Edition in order to access your ZipForm 6 forms. And Jane would like to know, do the sticky notes save on a template? No, sticky notes do not save on a template. They only save as part of your transaction. Kay would like to know, do we have to use Outlook to email forms? No. When you click email, it actually uses the ZipForm program to send out the forms. It will copy you. So that's my email address, training@ziplogix.com. So it'll copy you when you send out your forms. And Dan would like to know, will there be a webinar about digital signatures? Yes, we are going to have a special SCR webinar for digital signatures, just like we had one today for getting started with ZipForm. So keep your eye out for those. But if you don't want to wait, you don't have to. You can always go to the support tab at any time, or you can visit us at support.ziplogix.com. And you can click on the training link for additional training and support. In fact, we have live webinars that are hosted all the time for everyone across the country. If you just click on training, you can visit the live online training in order to choose a training session to attend. In fact, today at 2 p.m. Pacific time, that's 5 p.m. Eastern, we will have a webinar on digital ink, signing with digital signatures. And Nancy and Wanda would like to know, when will the next training session be held? Well, in addition to these nationwide training sessions, we'll have the next South Carolina training session next month. We're going to be holding one each month for the remainder of the year to help you out with all of your ZipLogix products. And Kathy would like to know, how do we change the colors of our fill-in areas to blue? Great question. You might have noticed that when I'm filling out information, my fields are highlighted in green, and if I click on it, it's a different color. You can change these colors that appear on your screen. It will not change what is on your forms by using the Tools tab and clicking Options, where you can change what is displayed on your screen. Again, that does not change what prints out, just what is on your screen. All right, and Dennis noticed that some of the forms that we filled out kind of look different than the ones he's familiar with. Why might that be? Well, that is simply because we were filling out some demonstration forms today. They may look different than the forms for your specific area, MLS, or association. We do that because, like I said at the beginning, we have members from across the state attending today's training, and we just wanted to get a feel for how to use the tools built into ZipForm 6. So we didn't want to be confused by wondering about different forms for different areas. And Dale would like to know, does this work with Firefox, Safari, or Chrome? ZipForm 6 works currently with Firefox and with Safari on a Mac. So Safari on a Mac only, not on a PC. It will work with Chrome. We are currently working on and evaluating the last little options so that it'll be able to work on Chrome. And Dan would like to know, what if you make a change when somebody is digitally signing a document? So you've made an alteration to the form. Do they have to sign the entire document again? Can they just initial the change? Well, you have two options there. You could have them re-sign the entire document, but you can also send it out and make a specific tag just for their initials if you choose. And Susan would like to know, do you have to sign up for the mobile zip forms on each mobile device? So if you have an iPad and then a Droid and then maybe another mobile phone you use, the answer is no. You only have to sign up for mobile once. Once it's added to your account, just visit m.zipformonline.com. Just remember, m.zipformonline.com. No www, nothing else before it, just m.zipformonline.com. You can visit that on any mobile device that's connected to the internet, and you'll be able to sign into your mobile account. And Mary would like to know, my registration has an expiration date. Why might there be an expiration date appearing for me? And if it's coming soon, do I have to renew? Well, you might see an expiration date because that's around the time of your membership renewals. So that's when you'll renew your membership and renew your zip form. It's a very easy process. Don't worry about it. It will be very simple and straightforward for you. You'll simply click Renew Now and you'll be renewed. That's simply so that we can reconfirm your membership and confirm if any of your information has changed, so it'll be updated automatically. And Joanne would like to know, is there a broker version of ZipForm versus an agent ZipForm? Yes, there is a broker version. The broker version has all the same features and functions. It just adds on the ability for all of the agents to be on this same account, and it also allows for you to have everything you need in one location. So your assistants, your transaction coordinators, and even the broker can sign in for that broker account. All right, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to close off our training right now. I'm going to continue to answer questions by typing them in. So if you're still on the training, we'll continue to type in and answer your questions on that right-hand side of the questions panel. So you can go ahead and stay on if you have additional questions. You may also respond to any of your reminders to join today's webinar by clicking the reply button, and you'll reach me directly. Or you can visit us at support.ziplogix.com to see training videos, support videos, and contact information for support, including telephone information and email information. So that's always there. All you need to remember is support.ziplogix.com. You can also access that through screaltors.org. Remember, you can access all of your great member benefits, including ZipForm 6, through screaltors.org. Thank you again for joining us, and I hope you've had a wonderful time.